I'm going deep here. I don't know if I've even admitted this on the podcast before, but it affected me mentally bad. At that time at AFTV, serious mental. I had anxiety attacks. I remember being out and having like, not being able to breathe. It was bad. I don't think I've ever admitted that. Big up Melanated and Proud. I'm being very open and honest.
It's man like Dan. Come on! Welcome to Melanated and Proud. But this channel is all about inspiring, empowering and showcasing the black community. Today, listen, we've got a special guest in it. Before I continue, if you want to join this family, you know what to do. Subscribe to the family because you know we're growing and we're just trying to do the most that we can do to help the community grow together, innit? So this guy's got many titles, man. So you got to do me a favour, innit? After each title, I need to hear you say, come on, innit?
Alright, cool. I like that.
So listen. Dancer.
Come on.
Actor.
Come on.
Presenter.
Come on.
CEO.
Come on.
Big man, let's welcome Cecil Jee Thomas.
Come on, G. You already know what time it is. I like that. Thank you. I even give a little round of applause as well. Don't look at me, I'm gassing myself.
No, is it? I can't even sum you up, innit? Like, you know,
there's
when
a lot.
someone might ask you, oh, what do you do, innit? You do many things, innit? And one thing I do rate is that you've literally turned your life around, innit?
Yeah.
And you're a true example of that. Life is not straightforward, innit?
Amen. Come on, G. Come
It's
on.
not straightforward.
No, it isn't. It's just what you said. There's a lot of things, and when obviously my dream was to be a footballer, so that was always the boyhood dream. I got there, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and then I wasn't happy, and my manager just broke me down bad by just bullying and just things he say to me, and I just made a decision when I left football that whatever I do in life, I need to be happy. So I put happiness in front of everything. So boom, I just started doing whatever I wanted to do that I thought would bring me happiness. And then from there, at first wasn't earning much from it, but then you start to find a path, and then things became, you know,
don't worry, we'll get into that a bit more. My first question to you, yeah.
Let's
so
go.
like I told you, I want to get quite deep into it. All right. So looking back at everything,
Yep.
where you've come from, all that you've gone through, did you ever think that you'd actually be able to turn it around?
Ooh, did I think I'll be able to turn it around? So obviously people that listen, there's been a time when I got released from football. Did I think I'll be able to turn it around? You have to. Yeah, I believe I did. I had to, because that's how life is. I couldn't just sit in a you know, in the corner and think, life is harsh. I'm never gonna do anything more than this. And I want to tell people this. I've said it. I think no, I haven't said it on many podcasts, but my manager when I was at Crawley Town, the one that I hate to this day, who made me fall out of love with the game, he said to me, "You'll never amount to anything more than being here in life." So that was in life, bro. My manager, I was 18 years old, and he said that to me directly. We have a whole team that said that to me, and I said, "All right, cool. That hurt, that burned." And I thought, okay, cool. I need to. First, it's more proving wrong. That was my get up and go. Was like, I'm gonna show you. Watch what I do in life. I'm gonna surpass this, everything. And obviously I haven't hit the end goal yet. Sorry, but I'm on the journey. I feel like I've done that. A lot of players I've worked with, or I was at Crawley Town with, they continue to try and chase the dream of being a footballer. That's what happens to most kids. They sign a scholarship or they sign a youth contract. And then if they don't sign a professional contract, they say, I'm going to make it regardless somewhere. So they just continue trying to chase the dream. I made a decision at a very young age to say, forget that. There's more to life than being a footballer.
No, fair enough, man. You're obviously proving it, innit? But before we even talk about that side of things, I know even speaking about that period of time, it must bring back some emotions.
Yeah, big time.
So I don't know if everyone knows, obviously, people listening are not all familiar with you, innit?
Cool.
So one thing I want to say is that who you are today and what you're doing has been a result of one of the most heartbreaking times of your life, innit? One of the most challenging periods of time. So can you just let people know a bit more about that moment? I'll help them out a little bit by just saying how you was pursuing a career in football.
Yeah.
You was obviously very good, and then when you was 16, you joined. You were 16, right? When you joined Crawley Town, so professional football team.
Yeah.
He was there for
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Things started off going well.
Yeah.
Scored scored on your debut.
Doing well, doing well, doing very well.
Everyone's proud of you.
Yeah,
everyone on.
And then times just I'll take over. The times just kind of changed really quickly from my youth team manager. So I signed at 16. Came from Crystal Palace, actually. Got released from Crystal Palace at under 16s. I was 15 at the time. That was my first introduction to professional football. And I always want to highlight that because a lot of young people listen, or people that want to be footballers, they say you have to be in academies from young. And, you know, there's a lot of stories of how to make it. No one actually has the formula, but I started late. I came in at 15. That was my first professional football club, Crystal Palace. I didn't even realise I was at a professional football club. I thought it was a college scheme until I went to the training ground, had to get on the coach, tracksuit and all that. I was like, oh my God, this is real. And then like a week later I got released and I cried for ages. Cried to my mum and that. It was heartbreaking. And I thought, you know what? This means so much to me, being released. So I was like, I have to make it. And then I had one opportunity to go to Crawley Town a year later. Went on to training. But because from that, when I got released, I was at a level where I was physically bigger than a lot of people at 16 years old, and I was training quite hard. So I went to Crawley. Fast forward, obviously there's a documentary online about it, but went there, 16, was better than the 16s. Then I got asked to train with the youth team while school was on. I was still in school at the time, year 11. So the club had to ring the school to get me to train with the youth team. It's called Day Release. They did that. Trained with the youth team, felt comfortable there. Obviously, youth team 16 to 18 years old. I felt comfortable. I was 16. And then they called me one day to go and train with the youth team. It was against the first team. So the youth team play against the first team in a training match. And I just ripped up. Ripped up, and then from there, first team manager liked me, signed my contract, signed a 2-year scholar, and started very well. Started very, very well. I was untouched by the system. I think nowadays academies have to play a certain way, patterns of play and all that. I wasn't like that. I was very raw for a tall guy, had good feet, and I always tell people this, like in the summer was my time. I was a seasonal player. I was very fit, so bleep test was my thing. It was weird. I hate running now, so it's funny. But I was very athletic, very fit and in shape, and I liked playing when the sun was out and pass to touch, moving it quick instead of like playing in the winter times. It's awful in them times. So when I first arrived at Crawley, my youth team manager was like, wow, because I was with the reserves, scoring goals. I was training with the first team. Me and another kid called Alex Lang, and actually another kid called E-Man, but me and Alex Lang were kind of like the main two that we thought were going to make it. We thought this was it. We were playing well. This is easy. I thought this was going to be my career for life. And then things started to change. The money situation at Crawley Town, we changed chief execs 6 times in 2 years. First team manager changed 5 times in 2 years. There was no stability amongst the club. People weren't getting paid on time. The first team manager fell out with our youth team manager. And then he became under pressure, and then he filtered that to us and then started, just awful things, throwing stuff at us, abusing us. I remember he told me to fuck off back to dance a few times. He moved me away from my mum. I lived very close to the ground, but he moved me into a really bad area in Crawley called Bewbush. I lived in a room way smaller than this.
Yeah, I remember you're saying how like you used to open the door and you
used to hit the bed. Yeah. Like I used to open the door, hit the bed. For mentally, the thing is, it was really bad. The room was too awful. Honestly, I had a sink. I can't explain. It was tiny. It was like a cupboard. And of course, it's hard for me. I'm painting a picture because some people listen to this to be like, you're a footballer, like chill out. Like you should be grateful you're in that position, but these little things affect your mental and affect your performance. And when you're in a football club, like everything matters. Everything. And I was young, I was a teenager, and it all affected me. Mental health was never around those times though. Let me make that clear. Like no one was speaking about the feelings and emotions. No one, that was not that. You'd get laughed at, especially at football as well. That is the most dominated, masculine, environment as well. So no one was talking about their feelings. I never really thought I had mental health issues at that time, but I clearly did. Really bad skin. My worst time, I had acne as well, and it was just a bad time for me. And my manager didn't help. He used to just be on me, because I think I fell from grace a little bit. When I first started, I was deemed to be Crawley's next big thing. Like the team was talking about me. It was all over online on Twitter and that. And then just the way I was being treated affected me, but I never openly spoke about it. I became a shell of who I am today, bro. Like that's my only regret in life. I wish I spoke up at that time, but it's hard to put pressure on a 19, or not even then, I was 16 then, 16, 17-year-old Cecil to say, you should be knocking on his door and telling him what's what. I couldn't do that. I was in a really bad place, and I wasn't telling my parents, my mum about it. I was just keeping it all in myself because I had a lot of pressure on me to, it's not the get out, because I'm not going to say I never came from ends and like, this was it. Like this, I was there to change my family situation. Listen, I was never well off. Let me make that clear. I come from a single parent home. Yeah, I was never in that mindset. I just didn't want to tell my parents what was going on, or my mum, sorry, what was going on, because I felt like I had pressure to be the guy, especially from my area and my family. Like I said, I'm going to make my mum retire. Like that was always my dream. So, yeah, it was just a tough time. Football wasn't the dream. It was when I was young. I got there and I was like, wow, is this really what it is? Like, what the hell? I was getting paid little money, treated really bad. And then there's a lot of things in that time, which you can watch. Like I said, there is a documentary, but it came to...
I did in the description,
Yeah, exactly. So then, and then we come to the end of the 2 years. We all get invited back to the stadium, go to the exec lounge, and we just get given an envelope to tell you if you've got a contract or you've been released. And we got told not to open it in the room. Went back in the car and got told I was released. And for a period of time, listen, that broke me, especially when me and then Alex Lang, probably email, were deemed to be favourites to sign a professional contract. Yeah, it broke me a little bit, but I still tried to chase the dream for a period of time. I went back to Crawley Town. Luckily, I rang the chief exec at the time, who I had a good relationship with, and I asked him, can I train with the first team just to stay fit and sharp whilst I go on trial at other clubs? But obviously in the back of my mind, I was thinking, man might nick a little move here. The Crawley Town might say, oh, raw, because the first team manager fell out with the youth team manager, he didn't really get to see us much. He didn't really speak or look at any of us. They kind of just made contract decisions off who's doing well in education. So I was training with the first team, and to be fair, they liked me. I wasn't getting paid at this time. I was going there every day, training for free, not making any money, paying out of my own pocket, and then traveling up and down the country to try and find another club. I went to many non-league clubs, was getting offered from places in non-league. I did exit trial at the end of my scholarship and got offered to go to Vancouver and do dance and football, which I wish I took, but I was too much of a mummy's boy. I was too scared to leave my mum. I was just too scared to leave my mum at that age, at 18, which some people say you should have, and I thought I should have, because it would have been amazing living in Canada, everything covered. But I went back to try and to find a professional contract. Went to Nike Academy, and the manager at Nike Academy at the time really liked me, but he left around the time I trialed, and then he was the Nike Academy manager, but he had affiliation with Nottingham Forest. He came from Nottingham Forest, and because of that, I had a long trial at Nottingham Forest. Was there for ages. Oh
wow! So you literally did give it a proper
I had a go. Bro, I missed out bare clubs. I went to Dagenham and Redbridge that time. I went to Brighton at that time. I went to loads of different clubs. But the main one that sticks in, and the main one that I think people remember, because I speak about it so much, was Nottingham Forest, because I went there on trial with a load of trialists. We was living in a house by the stadium. I referenced it before. There's a digs home, loads of footballers in there, right by the stadium, and I outlasted loads of trialists. They kept sending new ones. I was still there from like week one. It must have been about, I don't know how long it was about a month and a bit. And they were lying to me, saying, we're looking to sign you. I didn't know this at the time, but they were looking to sign me. So I was just believing it. Young, naive, wanting to be a professional contract. It was me and another kid going for the contract, right? I was training with the first team, but playing for the under 23s at the time. I thought I was doing really well. And then I got released from Nottingham Forest. I was also getting paid quite a bit of money from them, backhanders for expenses. But that was because I thought that they were going to sign me, because they were telling me they were going to sign me. But again, it was me and this one kid who I didn't know who he was at the time. Very similar, light skin, striker, both kind of tall, wicked. Me and him got released, and then months later down the line, they signed that kid, by the way. And I was like, oh, who, like, what? I thought it was quite similar, but I was trying to figure out, why did they sign him? So, found this out after I got released. Des Walker's son. Des Walker is a legend at Nottingham Forest. Great player. His photos are all over the training ground. His son was that kid I was up against. His name's Tyler Walker. I don't know if he's still playing today, but you can Google him. he was one that signed at Nottingham Forest over me. Makes sense, of course. I don't think there was much in it. I've actually thought I might be slightly better, but again, politics of football.
Yeah.
And that's how. And then after that club, that was the last club. I said, you know what? Forget this, man. I can't keep doing this. I'm killing myself. I'm absolutely killing myself. And then I didn't mention as well, Crawley Town, after a year of training with them, they offered me a non-contract. So it's out the game now, non-contracts. Non-contract. When I was 16, whether to sign a contract or go to the Brit school.
Yeah.
But I turned it down. I sat down with my mum and she said, like you're not happy doing this. You're not happy going to training with them. Like you're not happy going to training with the first team every day. You're not happy traveling and trialing at all these clubs. Like you need to, like, she just saw I was not who I've always been. Like, I'm always a happy-go-lucky, smile, soul smiling, all of that. I wasn't that. So I turned it down. Yeah. And then life happened, bro. I had to find a real job, and these are first world problems. But for me at the time, I thought this was gonna be my future. I thought I was gonna be a footballer forever.
Yeah. No, it's difficult though. Like,
it is.
You tried a lot, man. The one thing I want to ask you is, like, how did you deal with embarrassment? Because, like, think about it, you're known as being a footballer. You're known as the man that's gonna make it. Now you gotta go back to your friends, gotta go back to people that thought you would have made it. Also your haters as well, innit? Let's be real.
We're podding now.
They would have been ready for you. Like, what? Cecil's not there no more. What?
Brother. Oh, we're podding now then. Okay, let's get into it. Boom, like,
so how'd you deal with it?
Man lied a lot.
Yeah.
Let me make this clear.
Who wouldn't lie, bro?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Let's make this clear. Bro, we've got a long time to talk, so we're gonna get into the talent transfer and the company and all that. I speak to footballers every week. I mentor them. So a lot of this won't be shocks to players that have been in this situation, but I lied, obviously. Instagram profile, still me at Crawley. Facebook profile, still me at Crawley Town. Bio, baller at Crawley. All of that. Photos, actually, when I'm out in areas, in clubs in London, but I've had no contribution to them. I actually worked at Café de Paris after I got released and I left football completely. And I still kind of lied to say that I was a footballer going out in these clubs in the areas, but I was actually working as helping within the areas with like this. They had celebrity Saturdays, so I used to work with them in there. Not many people know this, but yeah, I used to lie and say I was still kicking ball. Well,
what was it doing inside though? As you're lying, as you're facing these people, like,
I don't know, because for me, like, you're right, like, in it, I was that guy in the area as well. Like, I was, and listen, like I said before, I didn't come from. I spent a lot of time in South London, but I'm not a South London man. I think people get confused by that, or they think I'm, because of AFTV, I'm at North London. But I trained in South London, but I was from Surrey. So when I went to school in Surrey, and I left Surrey to be a footballer. So I was the guy in school. I was the guy, and I used to tell people, yeah, like, boom, I was a footballer. People said, oh, Cecil's gone and done it. He signed. So when I got released, yeah, it was just pure lying. I don't really know how I felt at the time, because again, like, I'm very in touch with my feelings now. I'm very aware of everything. But back then, I kind of was just living a lie. I didn't have much money, but I don't know. I remember going, I remember me putting a photo of me like with bottles and all that, and just living the life. But it was all a lie. I didn't really have money at the time, but I was very good with people, so I had very good connections. Even when I was a footballer, like, this is a mad one. I went to Chip's party, when I was a footballer. I remember I had training the next day. I went there through a girl I knew. Obviously, man was dealing with things back when I was a footballer. So I had really good connections, and some of them connections were in the music world. So she was like, oh, I'm going to Chip's party. So I rolled with her. She really liked me. And I remember being there. Manuel Thomas was there. Bare ballers. I remember there were so many. I can't even think. But like, Crepton Conan was there. I remember Talisa there. There were some Arsenal players there. And I was living a lie, but I was there. And the reason why I mentioned that is because fast forward, like, me and Chip are tight. Like, I've got his number, like, we chat. But I was just living a lie at the time. I was training, but I knew at that time I wasn't going to sign a professional contract. So I wasn't really a footballer at the time. But the feelings, I was just lying to everyone.
So do you think you lied so much that you numbed your feelings?
Of course. I think all footballers do. I think you start to believe it. Like, I even have footballers to this day that on Instagram, they're not as active, but they have Crawley Town, them playing as their display picture. Bro, that was almost, what am I, 20? Yeah, it's 10 years ago. And man has still got it as their so like, people still do it to this day. I've still got boys that have played. They signed to other clubs, but they still hold that professional football photo as their main team, because you become attached. It's dark, bro, but you become attached to that. You become attached to.
It's because that was your identity,
exactly, and that's what I try and break when I go to football clubs and speak to players. Like, player identity and who you are are completely different. Like, being a footballer is your job. It's not who you are, and we find it as footballers so hard to detach from that. Even like players that have had amazing careers and been in the Prem and that, when they finish football, they still find it hard. Bro, I speak with Danny Simpson, who's a Premier League winner. He goes through it to this day mentally. He's very open about it, but like I speak to him quite a lot as well, and he says like the change into going back into the real world or trying to get a normal job is so hard. And my thing was, once I became numb to it, of course, but then I had to make a decision myself, like, Cecil, we got to man up here and face the world and do things that you enjoy. I said, cool. I don't have to live in the real world and get a normal job. I don't have to do that, but you can do things that are similar, that make you happy and make a career out of it. And like I said at the beginning, like, I didn't find money doing that for a long period, but then I found a career in what I get to do today, and I'm very happy and successful. But like, yeah, at the time, yeah, it was pure lying. It was, and if I'm honest, I loved gal around then as well. So a lot of the lying went towards girls. Like, that was it. So I was given this fake persona of this fake life that I was living, but realistically I was chilling, going on trial at times. My mum telling me I need to find a normal job.
What do you think the dangers of lying are then? Because if you think about it, if you generalize it, a lot of people are putting an image in it.
Yeah, because social media is a prime example of that. Yeah, but
I feel like there's a damage to that as well, isn't it?
Yeah, there's it's definitely damaging.
Obviously, at the time you didn't understand it.
I don't know. Yeah, at the time,
but looking at it now, what do you think are the consequences?
I'm trying to look through a microscope at it, and I'm trying to go back to that time. But
because let's say for some people now, that are living a lie, maybe they're looking for some advice right now, and you that's gone through that and done that, what can you save them from?
It all depends on how long you do it for. That's what I believe. Okay. There might be other answers to it, but it depends how long you do it for. Like, I did it for a certain period of time when I was not soul searching, but I was career searching. Really, I was trying to find what I was gonna do. It just depends, but also there is a feeling of embarrassment though whilst you're lying, because there must be. Because I remember when my mum said to me, look, the money that you had is running out from football. You need to find a job. And I laughed. I remember laughing like, I'm not going to get a job. Like, come on, bro. Come on, mum. I've just been a footballer. Like, I remember that conversation so much. And then I remember not having money and then being like, oh no, I need to find a job. And that's when, again, I don't know how much people know this, but I went and worked at Nando's in Gatwick. Funny enough, Troops started there as well. But I found a job in Nando's in Gatwick, and it was a secret job, really, because I didn't really tell anyone. I was earning okay money, but I was saving money to go to, like, I went to Iron Napa. I paid for myself. It was just like little things where I wanted to get away and enjoy myself. But I was doing that as well as doing other little gigs, little dance jobs. But I didn't really know there was a career in dance, which I spoke about many a times. But I was doing little gigs there whilst working at Nando's. Even at that time as well, the Daily Telegraph did a story about me whilst I was working at Nando's. I remember doing the phone interview for the Daily Telegraph whilst I was on a shift at Nando's. That was hilarious. But yeah, they were talking, and the story was football's forgotten, footballer turned dancer. Because I was doing little small jobs here and there in dance after I left playing football. So yeah, but the feeling is, there's a feeling of embarrassment. The people know when they're lying and they're living this fake life. They know what they're doing. But I just say, try and snap out of it. Don't let it last too long, because I think that's when it becomes dangerous.
You know what, yeah, for you, don't you feel like there was a transformation once you just experience the embarrassment? If you just when you just accepted it for what it was?
Oh yeah,
because painful. Don't get twisted. It's painful, but
when I accepted it, I took off.
Yeah.
When I said nah, your reality is not football anymore. You need to change that. Yeah, I took off. I set up. I went to another level. No, it's sorry. I'm just trying to work out. I'm trying to go through the timeline because like I was holding on to it for so long. Like I want to make everyone understand the story. So I was working at Nando's, cool, blah blah, saying I'm a footballer, lying. I went to Move It, which is a dance convention in London, because I went to a weekend school of dance whilst I was a footballer, I'm trying to spiderweb everything back together. So when I was a footballer, I went back to my area every Sunday to go and train at a dance school, yeah? Every Sunday I went back there. I only went there because all the girls, the popular girls, went to that school in my area. The flexible ones, the ones that I was like, yeah, man likes that one, innit? So I'd go back there to try and meet them. But then the woman who owns the dance school, she saw me and liked me and said, look, we'd love for you to come. Just come to the dance school. Like you always hear, you know that we like the people like you. You're very engaging. Come and join. So I joined. So Monday to Friday I play football, train, whatnot. Saturday I would play matches. Sunday would be a digs day. It's a rest day. We weren't allowed to leave Crawley, but I used to sneak back there, go there and basically try and meet girls. Yeah, but I was learning dance while subconsciously learning all the terminology, how to dance in time. I was doing it and I was trying to obviously meet the girls after, but like I was learning so much, taking all that information. Didn't really realise I was doing that. So that whole period of me being a footballer and then after leaving football, I was still going back there. And the woman who owns it, she always used to put pressure on me because she saw me as she believed I should be doing dance performance. So did my mum, by the way. Let me make that clear. When I had the decision whether to go to Brit school or be a footballer, I wanted to be a footballer so bad, but my mum was like, that's not for you. I can see how much you gravitate. When I was in the Brit school, bruv, the love was crazy. Like students, teachers, and I don't know, I just was vibes in. She said, you should do this, but I chose to be a footballer. Same with that woman who owned the dance school. She was like, you should trial going into dance. I was so egotistical and thought, no, like I got called a batty man, chichi boy, all of that for doing dance anyway. I got called all of that, wet, waste man. So in my head, I was like, yeah, man can't do that. Like I'm a footballer. Like I'm this guy that everyone portrays that they want to be. But realistically, she was right. And she said, go to Move It, which I just spoke about earlier. It's just actually down the road from me, London Excel. The main brand of Italia Conti, because she just hires a school to do like an associate school. The main brand will be there. Go and speak to them and see if they have anything for you. So I went to Move It, yeah, went there and then boom. In my head, again, I hate everyone listening and watching is going to be like, right, man, just focus on girls. But I knew that's where everyone would be, like in the dance industry, and there'll be a lot of girls there. So I went to Move It, and then the main brand was there. I spoke to the principal, and she said, oh, I've heard about you from Janine, the woman who owns the associate school. She was like, we'd love you to come to an open day, a boys' open day, because they were in need of boys to join performing arts. That's what I'm saying. Around that time, it was not cool to dance at all. So she was like, we were having a boys open day just solely for looking for boys. So if you come down to that, we'd love that. I said, yeah, I'll go. Bro, I was never going to go to that. I was too naive and just young to be like, I forget, I'm not going. And then a few months passed and the day of the open day was basically upon me, yeah? That was the day, around that time was when I had to stop living the lie and just say, Cecil, like, do something different. So I went to the boys open day. I said, let's just go, and Janine was ringing me like, you have to go. I told him, you have to go. I went there. We did a day of classes, just basic stuff, fitness, you know, all this stuff, fitness and dance and singing and all that. After that, you have a meeting with the principal. I had the meeting. She offered me a full scholarship. So that's a 12 grand scholarship. Yeah. I think it's 12 grand a year to go there, actually. I need to double check, but it was a lot of money, but I got a full scholarship. So I wouldn't have to pay to go for 3 years. I tried to negotiate with her and say, I don't want to come for 3 years, because I was so shook of leaving this lie of being a footballer and what the world would think about me, that I didn't want to be there for too long. I said, can I come for a year? That's it. And I was worried about timings because I was like, I don't want to be too old, even though I was only 19. So I tried to negotiate. She laughed at me, said, she's like, do you know how much people would die for this opportunity? And you're trying to negotiate with me. She said, no. She goes, go have a think about it. And then we start in September. So long story short, yeah, that whole period, I think was in summer at that time. I went on E4, Young, Free and Single. I went on some TV shows for free. I did some stuff. I was soul searching again. I was working at Nando's Gatwick. I had nothing really, nothing stable. Didn't really have a career path. And then I went to Festival with my boys. Went to a festival, yeah. This is after I actually did that TV show because people recognized me from that TV show, yeah. And then, I by the way, I hadn't confirmed no papers. I didn't tell the school I was going. No one knew I was not, Italia Conti was just a forgotten, no one knew about it. I was driving back from the festival, madness, like I had a mad time, was tired, and it was the first day of college was that day. My boy, I couldn't drive at the time. My boys were driving me back. And I said, I was in covered in mud. I was in a tracksuit. I was in some burgundy night tracksuit. And then I said to my boys, I said, can you drop me off in Guildford? They were like, what? Why? I was like, I want to go to this school. They were like, what? They were like, bro, you haven't signed no, you can't just turn. I said, nah, I'm just going to just see. I'm like, I'll do the first day and see. Bro, I went the first day in my beat up tracksuit, half tired. I remember telling some of the dancers, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just going to see how the first day goes. The girls in my year hated me, obviously, because the attitude is ridiculous. Like, people train, they audition to get into this college. I just said, I'm going to see how it goes on the first day and see if I'm going to stay. So I was hated. And I get it now. And I went. First day, done it. Second day, went back. Third day, bro, rest is history. I stayed. I went through a bit of a madness there in the first year. But then after that, my second year and third year, I changed my life. And I just came to terms with, Cecil, this is your future now. You have to, if you don't take this serious, you have nothing. They have nothing. And then from there, bro, life went, bro. It kicked off. It kicked off.
Got a clap for you.
Thank you, brother. But that was it. That was from that, making the decision, like, forget the lying, forget the embarrassment. Let's do something different. As much as people ridiculed me, I got hate, bruv. Facebook, I remember I get sent called a batty. I remember the first team at Crawley Town, I put a photo on social media, they printed it off and put it in the changing rooms. I remember of me in a ballet leotard and stuff. Like, I remember making that decision and getting a bit of backlash from it, but having to be mentally strong and saying, let's just get on with it. And that's also powerful. It was a cheat code. Yeah. Because there was enough. I was in a dance school with guys that weren't straight, but there was enough gal there. And for me, it was just, it was like a playground at first. And that's why I said, when I said there's a madness happening in the first year, I had to change that. But at first I enjoyed myself, and then I knuckled down, and from there it built. That's
so powerful though, because like, it took a while for you to find out who you was as well. Like,
100%.
Because there's all that sort of judgment that you might get from other people. Confusion, because I know 100% you was lost. You didn't know what to do, innit? Your whole identity's gone.
It's gone.
You're lying for time. It's like, gone. It can only last for so long, innit?
Yeah.
So what I'm interested in as well is that, what would you say was the most difficult thing about trying to find success after football, innit?
What was the most difficult trying to find success?
If it's to sum up, like, what would you say was the most difficult thing? Because like, think about football, there's so much money in that. Yeah. Also, that's your pride and joy in it.
Yeah.
Versus trying to find something else out in the world.
This is very cliche, right?
Yeah.
I fucking love the journey, bro. Like, I love it. Like, I love going into different things, meeting different people, trying new things, and trying to be the best at it. So, but that's the journey. Like, the destination, I think, and again, it's a cliche because everyone, there's like all those quotes like, you gotta enjoy the journey and that. But I generally love that. Like, because even right now, I'm still on the journey. Like, I consider myself a success because it's just in life right now and what I get to do. But like, I'm still on the journey, and I love every day of it. But I had to come to terms with it. I think with football, it's very clear when you're hitting success because you're playing with the first team, you're training up, or you're making your debut. There's a lot of highs and lows in football, but it's very clear the checkpoints of you're doing well. For me, there's not really a path. There's not a, oh, he's doing that, so when I get there, it's a checkpoint. I want to do everything. So what's the checkpoint? Because I want to do it all and be a success in it all. So there's never a checkpoint. And that's why I love the journey, because there's no one walking the path for me that I'm following. And to give everyone and you an idea of why I'm saying that is because I went to that dance school not wanting to be in the West End. I did a musical theatre course for 3 years. That was my diploma. That was what I was training in, to do musical theatre. But I didn't want to be in the West End. So I'm basically doing something I don't want to do. And then when I was going through that, the 3 years, my college were like, all the principals and that were like, you're going to be a dancer. You're a fantastic dancer. Towards the end, I became really good at, I trained really hard and became a really good dancer. But I was like, I don't want to be a dancer though. I want to do bits of it. Like, I don't know, dance with some artists, do music videos and whatnot, and be a sick dancer when it comes to, if man want to, I can break it down.
I've seen it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people have. So I'm like, I don't want to be, like, my light can't be dimmed when I'm on the dance floor. But I done that. They just thought I was going to be a dancer in the West End, do Thriller, do flips, do tricks, and then earn a living doing that. But then that's putting me in a box. That's putting me in a box.
I know you hate that.
I hate that, brother. Yeah. That's the one thing I hated. Like, even when I was with people saying you're going to be a footballer, I always want to do more than that. My college said you're going to be a dancer. I want to do more than that. So then I stopped doing dancing. I was like, okay, cool. I want to do modelling, because I found out modelling, you earn more, and you don't really do too much, but you have to work the camera and learn things. And I became an econ model. I did the Sainsbury's modelling. I was an econ model for years. So you can still find me actually on their website. I did that. Then I did some commercial modelling. I did Nike. I did sports doubling, all of that. And that's when I found the love for that. So I did modelling, and they were like, oh, you're going to go on and be a commercial model. You have that face. Everyone used to brand me with that. I did a lot of adverts. They were like, oh, you're just a commercial model. And I was like, all right, cool, watch this. I said, I want to do something different. I want to be in a film. I actually want to do acting. I'll be honest. I never cracked acting, but I did The Little Mermaid and realised this isn't for me. There's a lot of skill and art that goes into it, but you get paid really to wait around when it comes to doing big films. Yes, you got to be a talented actor, but it's not, there's so much more, I don't know, I guess baggage that comes with it. And my best friend, Purcell Ascot, amazing. Shiro's Story, he's so successful. He's been on Netflix and a lot. He's a successful actor. And I've seen that path. I was like, I don't know if that really is for me. I've had a taste of it, gonna move on. And then presenting came about, found that. And yeah, I've loved it. And I'm currently on that journey. And I don't like getting put in a box. People say I'm a presenter. I may turn left to do something different, but right now that's where I'm at. And I
remember there was the saying you said about how people try to like get onto you about being a jack of all trades.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. Bro, you've done your research.
Listen, I know you, bro.
I like that. I love it. Do you know what? Because I say this, like,
jack of all trades.
No, I respect that, because listen, obviously I'm normally you. I have to do research on the big people I'm speaking to and all that, and interview them. So I respect it a lot. And yeah, that is, you know, about the box thing, that infuriates me when people say you're just this or you're just that, and we're gonna brand you as this. And then I also hate that people used to say to me, oh, but you're a jack of all trades. Like, what do you really do? Or you're not just good at you're not good at one thing. You just spread yourself thin everywhere else, so you'll never be good at one thing. That just it infuriates me. And so much so, I spoke to you before off camera. Like, I like to research things deeply. When things get at me, I like to do a lot of the research. So that jack of all trades, master of none. The actual saying and quote is wrong. It's jack of all trades, master of one. That's the original quote. So you can do your research on that as well. But I've always thought myself as a jack of all trades, but you can be good at all of these things. You don't have to just be a master at one. You can be really good at all these things. And that's how I see life. That's what I try and do. The older I get, the harder it becomes. No,
obviously,
to do.
But do whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
it's the fact that people are trying to tell you what you can do, and you know your own gift, you know your own talents. Exactly. Who are they to tell you? Just because they can't do it doesn't mean you can't.
Exactly, bro. Like, and nowadays we live in a generation, bro. Like, you have to be good at everything, bro. I looked at like Will Smith originally. He did acting, he did direct, he did he basically did everything. Same with now. If we go modern day, I look at Chunks and Phillies, and I say they're KSI as well. Actually, big up KSI, JJ. Them man. Cool, you can say they're YouTubers or personalities, but they do everything. They do it like, bro, they like Philly does music, KSI's done music, Chunks did music but stopped obviously because of religion. KSI does boxing. And by the way, you can say he's a jack of all trades, but he's the top of all of these things, by the way. Let's not get twisted. His fight, he said it recently, his fight with Tommy Fury done more views than... No, he got more views in boxing than any other boxer in actual professional boxers that year. He done more views than all of them and made more money than all of them. Crazy, by the way. That's crazy. Music-wise, Christmas Drillings, KSI, hit #1. Cracked music. They do loads of stuff. I work with Sides. They have their own food distributor. They are killing it doing their own food, their food brand. They've got their own vodka, XIX. It's in Morrison's. They sell out on that. Prime, don't even talk about Prime. Sold 1 million bottles. 1 billion bottles last year. 1 billion bottles, Prime. They've signed loads of people. Like top athletes, Haaland's, they signed with I think it was UFC last year. They done so much, and this is just one brand. You have to do everything. Chunks and Philly does so much. He does events. He does merch as well. I know it's merch. It's not actually a brand. Chunks is his brand. Good Hearts. Primo with Sharky. Like nowadays, you have to be good at everything. And I don't know if that's a lot of pressure on people, but I find fun in it. I really do. I find it's a challenge, and I find fun in trying to attack everything and be the best at it. And nowadays, you got to be diverse and got to be able to do all these things. I think that the era of you go to uni, you get a job, and that's it. That's your career. But
I think even that was a lie in itself, because like people try to, you know how you said how your football's not your identity. Yeah. People try to make work your identity. It's not just one thing, but there's many more layers to you.
There's loads.
There's many layers of your personality, and you're trying to show that through your job, but also there's money as well. Like people talk about 7 streams of income to be a millionaire.
That's
like
true.
you got to do more in it.
You have to. And it's funny though, because you just said there like work. You say about identity. The one thing I battle with right now is work is my identity. I can't switch off. I'm always on the go. My work-life balance is a mess. But I will talk about that, I think, a bit more towards the end. But like that's the one thing right now I'm trying to work on. But yeah, you're right. Like to have money, different streams of income. Listen, I'm not going to come in here and be like, man's gone clear. But
he's clear, man. He's clear. He's good.
I'm not doing that. He's good. Because the world is mad. But like... but you're
I'm joking. Humble.
Chill. I'm trying to tax man. No, I'm joking. I'm not clear, but like
the Ferrari's outside still.
But
man had security.
You're right though, but like it brings money. But a lot of the time when I started doing this, there was no money to be seen. Like I said, I never was earning loads when I first started all of this, and I'm talking about dancing and performing and those things, because I'll be honest, people will know this as well. I wasn't a YouTube first like path walker. I wasn't the originator. I wasn't the OG, the Godfather. Like we talk about the poets, the Vooges, the Don Robbies and all of that. They led the way when there was no money kind of really in it, and they built careers, KSIs of course, and all of that. So I wasn't that, but I was doing other things and not earning loads of money from it. However, those things started to earn me a lot of money before I reached YouTube. And I want to make this clear as well. I was doing very well before I hit AFTV. Like I was pretty much set up. And I think people have a misconception that I hit AFTV and it gave me more eyes that allowed me to then fly more. But I was doing very well. I was self-employed at the time, earning very well from just gigs. I was doing a lot of stuff.
So you know what? Even like for me personally, I think when I first saw you in AFTV, I'm not an Arsenal fan, innit? But like I had that assumption as well. Then I looked at you a few years ago, I was like, raw, this guy's been doing this thing for a while.
For time. I had my business like 4 years deep before talent transfer, before reaching AFTV. And then on top of that, like I said, like I was just doing, like I had my car. I don't want to do small flex, but I had a good car at the time before I was at AFTV. I pretty much had my, listen, inshallah, big up, and we thank God, I bought a house. Like I had a lot of that funds for that before I was at AFTV. It just helped me maintain these things. But nowadays as well, when I was at I'm now juggling more than ever, because I'm self-employed doing my own work as well as juggling AFTV, which is so full on and full time. So now it is elevated more, but at the time, like before, I was doing hella things, and I want to make that very clear because it frustrates me that people think you came to AFTV and that's it, and like, that's how I know about you and that's how you made it. But I was like, bro, I was crafting before. I was doing hella things. I was body doubling and having a good life of that. Like with footballers, like I was okay. But AFTV, I'll be honest, it kicked me into another.
Obviously, you want to show that there was more to you before that, innit?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Even if you became a footballer, you probably wouldn't be content with just being a footballer.
No way.
There's more to you than that. But even, okay, let's touch on AFTV now that you mentioned it. Like, how did you deal with the pressure? Because I remember, obviously, Robbie was the one I was presenting most of the time, innit?
Yeah.
And even me, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but obviously I tune in to see you guys lose. But
yeah, I get that.
But to be honest, like I watch a lot of episodes, innit? And then just seeing the change. Obviously, not everyone's comfortable with change, innit? Even me, I was like, who's this guy? Now asking questions. Where's Robbie? But I was like, rah, like this guy's got a vibe. Like I actually like him still. Yeah. And then the rest is history. I feel like more people probably showed you love, innit? But how do you deal with that pressure? Because it's big shoes to fill, innit?
I dealt with it very bad. Very bad. Big up Melanated and Proud. I'm being very open and honest. I think I am when I sit down with people. But I'll keep it real. I dealt with it very bad. It was fucking hard. Sorry to swear, but that's the truth. So I'll be real. From when I was young, I wanted to be famous and successful. Famous, I know people be like, who wants to be famous? But like that was I wanted to be very popular. So I always thought mentally I would be able to deal with that. I remember when I was young and people talking about my family, especially my sister was like, I'd always take money over fame, and I don't know how people deal with cameras in their face all the time, and I always just be like, I'd love that. Like I don't know why, I just really would love that. And so that's why I always thought like I would be able to deal with people knowing who you are and even changes of your life, because I thought I'd be a professional footballer, so I thought it comes with it. You learn that when you sign anyway. You learn, like, you get media trained, and you learn that, you know, your life will change eventually. And even when I was in school and when I signed my first contract, my life was slowly changing. You become, obviously, to like musicians, they're hood celebrities. To me, yeah, it was like I was an area celeb. People knew who I was in my area, but it was only small time because I was at a small club. But I always could see the pathway. AFTV come about, it wasn't part of the plan. I'll be honest. Joining AFTV wasn't never part of the plan. I wanted to do presenting and stuff, and obviously I've been an Arsenal fan my whole life, but I never saw me being on AFTV. So when I joined, there was a huge amount of pressure because Troops was leaving at the time. And then people would just assume that because Troops is leaving, I'm his replacement. But me and Troops are nothing alike. I'm a fan of it. I've been a fan of AFTV. I watched Troops. I knew his character. I knew who he was. But me and him, we're nothing alike to each other. And people just assume because he's going, I'm his replacement. But I don't know if I can say this. I got brought into AFTV to replace really Robbie, was the initial thinking behind it. When I had the meetings with Robbie, it was like, he's got so much going on and wants to do other things alongside AFTV, of course, but he wants to take a bit of a step back and then fill his shoes somewhere else and let, you know, a new generation come in. So I was kind of there to replace Robbie. Obviously, at first they were looking for two presenters, one female, one male. It ended up being me and James. So two males. James is best at what he does, stats and information, all that, and that's what he got brought into. I was kind of there to, do what Robbie was doing, which again is big shoes to fill and came with a lot. And so at first I was getting a lot of hate because people don't like change. I was getting a lot of hate because people thought I was supposed to be Troops, which I was never going to be. And I wanted to change. I wanted to change AFTV and give fans more of a voice and connect. Because I've been a footballer, I know at the time footballers' mindsets towards fans. It was always so far away. Like we understood they paid our wages and they paid our wages, and we had to respect them. But football and fans were never close. Like there was never a real relate. I don't think there was anyway. Especially from the clubs I've been at and players I've been with. So I wanted to smash that down and bridge the gap between football clubs, players and fans. So when I arrived, people didn't really know that. They just said, he's just another personality, another face that we got to get used to, but I don't like the change. And then on top of that, I'm going deep here. I don't know if I've even admitted this on a podcast before, but like, your words are really powerful on a big platform. Didn't really understand that. I just thought, brother, like, I'm me. I see the best in everyone. So let me just be me and accept that. Like I'm never malicious, I'm never harmful or anything. And like I said things on certain podcasts, or I said things on the channel and that, and people just gave you direct hate for that. And it affected me mentally bad. I've never had I never realized I had mental health issues. Obviously at Crawley I probably did, but I didn't really identify with it at all. I just thought it was just life, got on with it, especially coming from a Caribbean background. But at that time at AFTV, serious mental health. I had anxiety attacks. I remember being out and having like, not being able to breathe. I had to get a therapist. It was bad. I don't think I've ever admitted that. This was 2 years ago. So it was kind of around the end of first year at AFTV. But it was a lot of change very fast. And people might be like, rah, like, it can't be that deep. But also I came in at a time at AFTV where Arsenal weren't doing very well. And we were getting a lot of the blame for a lot of things.
Yeah, I remember.
Like, just like...
Yeah, people turning on you as well.
Bro, our own... like... And I always say this, and I'm not going to do it here, because, sorry, I just can't. But, like, I have stories where it's gotten on top for me. Even though, for something I haven't said, it's got real. Like, madness. I've been in situations that I eventually will speak about one day. But it got serious, bro. And like, yeah, it's happened on multiple occasions. So I've had to really like grow and understand that, like, bro, you're going to get judged on what you say. People may not like you. My thing was, why do you not like me? Like, I'm just literally, I want the best in everyone, and I'll always smile and be respectful. Like, I care for people, and I would never say a harmful comment or anything, or be rude to someone. So why are you not like that? I had to learn very quickly that life's not like that. So a lot of changes. And yeah, now I'm like, rah. Like, man, this channel is massive, bro. Like, my life has changed completely.
But first, well done for owning that, innit? Because I know you said you haven't said it before, innit?
Yeah.
But I think for me, like, I probably would have assumed that you would have experienced something, because first of all, big boots in football, also that exposure that you're getting. Yeah, it's very opinionated as well, and also everyone's got an opinion as well, innit? Not everyone's gonna like you.
Yeah, but I don't really push my opinion on like, when it comes.
I know, but even which
I need to more, because I think people sometimes want to hear it or they don't. But like, I took the presenter role on AFTV of the middle ground presenter. Like, that's why nowadays, like, I get loads of work for other companies as a presenter. So I thought that's why I'd have been sitting on AFTV, but because of the history of AFTV,
because of what it was representing, because there's nothing wrong with it, but because of how it's perceived,
right?
Because you're now one of the people presenting,
right?
You get tarnished
that, but man, people don't understand. Robbie's not like that either. Like, Robbie's I think Robbie's changed. He's changed a lot. He should be. If Robbie wasn't a black man, bro, they would hail him up. Like, Robbie's changed the lives for so many people. He's changed the trajectory of, not in trajectory. Sorry, he's changed the world in a sense of fan culture. Like, he's kicked down doors for so many people. He's changed the narrative of this whole fans should have a voice in that. He's a pioneer, bro, and he doesn't get. Some people will give him his flowers. He doesn't get the flowers he deserves for it. So when I'm inside the nucleus of AFTV, I'm seeing like what he does for people and how many lives he's changed and how much of just a nice guy he is. And I'm like, why does he have such a bad perception? And it's not even because of him all the time. It's because of the channel and people that come on it and have said certain things. And because you're kind of disrupting the industry that's so set in its ways of, you know, presenters and or in suits talking about football. Because he's disrupted it so much. It's changed so much now that, you know, they've copied him. But yeah, it comes with so much hate and so much distaste. But I didn't see that because I'm inside it. I'm like, wow, we do so much. I'm aware there has been some negative things, some bad things that AFTV have done in the past, but I think a lot of that has changed. But people's mindset hasn't changed because they're still stuck with the old AFTV and what it's done. But for me, it's hard to understand, bro. It's really hard for me to understand that. So like, it was really difficult for me to adjust. Like, there's so many stories. Like, I used to get, because when I had the anxiety attacks, there was times I was going to work or going to watch an Arsenal game and having to work after, do the fan camps and that, where I have to be on guard 24/7. Like, on match days, like, I'm not who I am here. I'm not Cecil, because I'm on like, you know, when man talk about PT, I got friends that I'm not going to talk about too much, that from that life, and they have PTSD to this day of just like, when people approach them or like they try and be friendly, even with me, like people will stare at me and they will be like, bro, like, but I know it's for AFTV, but they have a different mindset. I'm like that on match days. I've never experienced the gang life and all that, so I'm not going to try and portray that. But I'm just saying I have to be aware of certain things. I can't go. Now it's changing and it's changed, but back in those days where it was peak for me, and it was peak for me, peak for the channel. I couldn't leave my seat. Like I'd get in the ground early and not leave my seat because I was scared. Like something mad could go off when I go into the concourse or go to toilet or whatever. So it affected me massively. But yeah, those changes were difficult and like.
How did you deal with that anxiety in the end?
I had a therapist, but I'll be honest, I feel like I was just wasting money. But I say that, but I don't have it now, so maybe it worked. I don't know. But yeah, just come to terms with it. You have to just crack on, bro. Like I can defend myself, and one thing, and secondly, like this is it. And Robbie is a good mentor in the sense of like when you're gonna do things in the public eye and you want to be successful, it comes with hate. Like the most successful people have haters. Like that's just. I'm not saying everyone's haters, but nothing's smooth. It's not an easy road, and I'm just aware of that now, and we just go through it, innit? Like I don't feel like I'm doing anything so awful that I deserve to be killed or harmed. So all I want to do is hear from fans and give them a voice and try and bridge the gap, which I feel like I've done since joining AFTV. Like,
yeah, no, 100%.
I feel like I'm doing that. So yeah.
So let's talk about talent transfer, innit? Because like as part of you turning things around for the people that are going through the same sort of career path that you was going for before, so in terms of football, so we can just let people know a bit more about that, because you're the CEO
of Talent Transfer. So Talent Transfer is my business, it's my baby actually. It's something I set up when I was in performing arts school, and I wanted to give back. I think people always see that, you know, when you finish your life you should give back, but I was like, well, and I always want to do that, but I was like, why can't I just do it whilst I'm on the journey? Like I shouldn't have to wait for me to hit a certain level, like then, because then it feels like I'm talking down to people. So I wanted to set up, and the initial reason for it was because I got treated so bad as a footballer, and I didn't want any young player to go through what I went through. So that was the initial reason for setting up Talent Transfer. However, it's grown now to, there's so many different things that go into the workshops. And to give everyone an idea, I basically go into every football club in the Premier, well, from Premier League down to League 2 on the EFL. I go there and do a workshop with the players and offer support post the workshop as well, for them to say how to transfer skills from football into the real working world, life after football, to prepare them for that. I also got a section where we talk about giving people tips what I never had when I was playing to get a professional contract. So there's a lot of gems that you miss when you're a footballer because you're just so focused on just training well and playing well. But since I've left the game, I speak with so many different people and have so much more awareness of what it's actually like as a footballer and how to get a contract. So I explain things like that to them. And then, yeah, just life after football. And obviously there's a bit of inspiration side to it because, you know, I left football and created a path and people will look at me and say, yeah, you've done it right. You haven't just sat and just, you know, continue to be a footballer, or just gave up and not done anything and just lived a normal life. Or, you know, a lot of people go to crime actually as footballers. That's quite big. What happens once they get released, because they kind of try and find fast money. So I kind of give, you know, the full perspective of that. And I always say as well, I'm not the anomaly. There's a lot of people that were footballers. Like I speak about Akala. Akala was at West Ham under 16s and he chose to do education over football. Look how successful Akala is. I speak about PK Humble, big up Percy. He does #United, but he was at Colchester, and then now he has a career in entertainment and content. Rio Ferdinand was a professional footballer, of course, but he now has 5, lives off that. Ben Foster, he's retired. He was a footballer, but has that. Reece Rawaba owns Mana d'Ivoire. He was at Man City, but he left that because he left Man City because his brand was doing so well. There's so many stories, so I just make people aware of that. And yeah, and I just always be a voice as well to players and someone who's there for them. I have loads of people that have gone through my workshop and are playing to this day. I have loads of success stories. It's embedded in the workshop as well, some of them. But it's my most soul satisfying thing I get to do, and I'm so proud of it. It's my baby, and I would have done it for no money at all. It started with not really being funded to now it is very well funded, and it's been running for 7 years consecutively. I have Excel spreadsheets of feedbacks from clubs that are excellent. And yeah, man, it works. It's credible, it's tangible, and it's something that I'm so proud of. And it doesn't get the light. It doesn't need to get the light. And I always used to say this. People only started hearing about it because of my profile now, because of AFTV. But I've been doing this for years. Like, there's people that get awards, big up kick. I'm part of a PFA and the LFE, which is League of Football of Education, life skills specialist team. So to give people context of who's in that, Barclays Bank, they do finance management with footballers. So I'm part of that. I'm part of a deliverer for that. I don't deliver for them, but I'm part of my workshops in that. Kick It Out with Troy Townsend, that's part of it. There's social media help with Kathy Wood. There's sex ed, which is another life skill. So all these workshops and stuff get delivered to footballers, and I'm part of that program. So every year, 7 years consecutively, successful, it's doing well. And yeah, man, it warms my heart. It warms my heart because again, I'm sorry I keep speaking. I'm just on a roll. I'm on a roll. But I went to a careers day with LFE, and a guy from Swansea, still playing professionally, was like, "You came to my club when I was 16." Which baffled me, because he was not older than me, but I think he was around 26. So yeah, and he still remembered my workshop. And I get voice notes from players as well, like, "Bro, thank you for the advice you gave at this time." It also happened the other day. I played against SC Dons for the Wall FC, and a kid was at Forest Green Rovers. He was like, "You came to my club 2 years ago," and I was like, "Raw." So yeah, man, it's wicked. It's wicked, man. Thank you.
Keep clapping, man. You're doing well, man. Honestly,
I appreciate that. Well. Yeah, that's talent transfer. There's a website and stuff, and big up. You give me a platform to speak about as well, man. I appreciate it,
man. But do you want to drop your handles, or should I just add it in the description? What's easier? I want to add it anyway, innit? But I
hear it. You don't have to find me, man. I know everyone always says, like, I love it when I do podcasts, like, "Oh, where can we find you?" But like,
man said, don't find me. Like, I'm hiding.
I'm happy with it. I don't want any more. Remember when I was young, I wanted the favour. Now I'm like, nah, I'm good. But nah, listen, talent transfers the business. So that's my baby. You can find my personals, but if you don't see me, you don't see me. But you're gonna, I'll be honest, you're gonna see me, because I try and do everything. So at some point, you may already see me, may not have. But yeah, thank you for having me on and allowing me to speak. There's so much other things we didn't cover. Like, there's side men,
there's flowing, you know?
Yeah, I know. We went deep. I was like, I couldn't. We went deep. Pause into like how do you say, get that one in there? That was mad. Into like, yeah, the life side of it. Like, obviously, the climb and that coming out of the other side was really good. So like the side men and all that, and CONCACAF, all of those things.
Final words of encouragement for your brothers and sisters. I guess you can also implement. What advice would you give to those that are pursuing a path but it's not going the way they want it to?
Okay, quick one on that then. Advice. I'm so bad at this bit. I always say, so
look at the camera, they're looking at you.
Quickly, okay, cool. So boom. Firstly, to the young footballers, listen, if you don't make it, it's fine. This is a chapter of your life. It's not the full story. Always remember that. There's so many chapters to fill a book. This is only a chapter. That's number one. Advice just to the people that are listening and watching, that are just in a career that, you know, it's not going well right now. Things take time. Be patient. If you believe in something so much, I promise you it will happen. You'll get your opportunity. Life always gives you opportunities. You just have to take it. So keep going. Never give up. It's very basic. Enjoy the journey. Another one. And then there's one more. Live your life, please, people. One advice: live your life with a smile, please. Just, I try to. I know the world and life can get tough, but try and be positive, especially when you're outside. Like, it's infectious. Please live with a smile and try and look for the bright side of life. A bit cringy, but it's the truth, man. Smile, man. Love.
What I'll say to you as well is that keep grinding, man. Keep doing your thing. Look after yourself as well.
Yeah, man.
I understand as you reach more heights, you're gonna feel more pressure. Facts. But also look after yourself. That's the main thing. But
we're trying to do. My work-life balance is a mess.
I don't need to burn out, innit? That's the other thing.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen, maybe, but
I'm trying not to.
Make sure you're not down for too long, innit? At least, because it's dangerous, innit? But more money's coming your way, more success.
Inshallah, please.
Just keep winning, yeah?
God,
keep winning.
Thank you very much, and thank you as well, Melanated and Proud. Make sure you subscribe and like, man. Big up. I love this. I love being able to come in and speak, and thank you so much.